Hello guys. Welcome again to my new video. Today, we will be counting list for the cutest Pokemon owned by Team Rocket James. James is a member of Team Rocket. More specifically part of a trio with Jessie and Meowth, that follows Ash Ketchum and his friends around in the Pokemon anime, usually trying to steal Ash's Pikachu. Despite the bad doings of Team Rocket, James' characteristics has a soft side. Especially in his Pokemon. He really loves them, and care for them. Showing his good side. That's why, James' Pokemon suits him well, not only for being strong and funny, but also for being cute as well. So, without further ado, here is the top 5, and the most adorable Pokemon of Team Rocket James. Top 5. Growlithe. As an only child of millionaires, James was forced to endure formal society while growing up. Often having to take part in numerous lessons and activities he had little to no interest in, he eventually began to grow weary of the rules and standards that appeared to be ever present within the upper class. At a young age, he was engaged to a girl named Jezebel. It was revealed in the first series of Pokemon anime, episode 45, titled, Holy Matronomy, that he wanted to marry her at some point, but he changed his mind after he saw how controlling and overbearing she was. Unable to stand her, he ran away, leaving his lavish lifestyle as well as his beloved pet Growlithe. He entrusted Growlithe to protect his parents and he decided to continue and pursue being a member of Team Rocket. Growlithe is his first Pokemon. His loyalty to James and its cuteness earned a spot to our list.
Well, Growly, please take good care of my parents.
Top 4. Mareanie. Similar to a number of other Pokemon James has owned, Mareanie is very fond of James and occasionally engulfs her trainer's head in her 10-spiked tentacles. The resulting poisoning causes James to look like a Mareanie. She was the first Pokemon James from Team Rocket obtained in the Alola region. She is very jealous of other Pokemon, whom she thinks one of them are females and trying to win over James's heart. Causing James's Pokemon capturing messed up. She was originally in love with a male Mareanie. Until she thinks he dumped her for another female Mareanie, displaying her hatred toward her ex-boyfriend. Mareanie has also been seen to have an elder sibling relationship with Stuffle, and Mimikyu is seen whenever they play together. Soon after the Alola League, Team Rocket received a call from Giovanni and were ordered to return to Kanto due to their lack of achievements in Alola. Jessie and James, knowing that Mimikyu and Mareanie would be unhappy in Kanto, decide it's best to leave them behind. However, when James tried to explain to Mareanie about their departure, Mareanie believed that she's coming along as well and got super excited. As Mimikyu and Mareanie slept, James entrusted Mareanie to take care of their Z-Power Ring and Z-Crystals. Team Rocket then left Alola and returned to Kanto. The next day, Mareanie is last seen playing with Mimikyu and Stuffle. Mareanie is one of the strongest Pokemon James ever had. He was able to defeat Ash in one of the episode of Pokemon Sun and Moon. And because of this, Mareanie took our 4th spot.
I suggest you apologize. There's nothing worse for a young woman than a wandering eye.
It's Marienie's heart on the line here. So try thinking about somebody else for a change.
You're right. I'm sorry. Won't you forgive me? Please, please!
Top 3. Chimecho. Chimecho was the second Pokemon caught by James during his travels through Hoenn, making his 8th overall. Ever since he was young, James had wanted a Chimecho after seeing one being sold at a local festival. Later that night, he ran back to the carnival to buy it, but he was too late, the carnival was already packing up. He was very disappointed, believing he missed his chance at getting what he had called his first love. James finally caught himself a Chimecho in who's flying now. While attending the Fortree City Feather Carnival, James came across the Magikarp salesman, selling strange-looking Chimecho. He was narrowly tricked into buying one, but it later turned out to be a Hoppip disguised as a Chimecho, and it flew away. Depressed by losing his chance again, James was instantly cheered up when a real Chimecho flew up to him, Jessie, and Meowth, using its heel bell technique on them. James asked Chimecho if it wanted to be his Pokemon, and it agreed, wrapping itself around his head in excitement. James adored his Chimecho, and it was often seen out of its Pokeball, either floating near James or being held in his arms. Its melodic voice instantly placated situations between the trio whenever they argued. It had a place in the Team Rocket motto after Wobbuffet. Despite this, James refused to put Chimecho in any sort of danger, particularly battles. However, it did heal the trio's Pokémon, as well as Jessie and James, with Heal Bell during battles. In Sweet Baby James, James left Chimecho with his grandparents, Nanny and Pop Pop, at his old vacation home near Saffron City after it came down with a bad fever. He said he planned to return for it when it heals. Well, no wonder Chimecho really deserves on our list, because all the episode where Chimecho appear, showcase its cuteness, and we really fell in love at him same as James. That's why our top 3 is Chimecho.
Say, if you're not going anywhere, maybe you'd like to come along with me. Looks like I've got a Chimecho!
Well, that was a pretty easy catch.
Sometimes all you gotta do is ask.
Oh, that sound is so soothing! Don't you just love Chimecho's voice?
The first 300 times, maybe. But then it goes from soothing to annoying. Now put that thing away and pay attention.
But Chimecho helps me see clearly. No, maybe not! Chimecho, return! If you put it that way, Chimecho, this is going to be terrible, but do whatever Jessie says.
Top 2. Carnivine. Carnivine was the only Pokémon that James obtained in the Sinnoh region, and his second overall. James originally caught Carnivine in the Great Marsh as a boy, as mentioned in a flashback in Cream of the Krogunk Crop. It debuted in 2 Degrees of Separation. During this episode, Team Rocket went to James's parents' vacation home in Sinnoh. While there, James found Carnivine's Pokeball among a collection of bottle caps, but he left quickly after being informed that Jezebel was on her way. However, he decided to bring Carnivine with him. For the duration of time James had it with him, Carnivine took Cacnea's place as his main battling Pokémon. Carnivine continues the series' running gag of James's grass-type Pokémon showing affection for him, by hurting him whenever they are sent out from their Pokeballs. This affection is probably due to the fact that James and Carnivine shared a close bond when James was a child. Carnivine was used by Jesselina multiple times during the Sinnoh Grand Festival, with the final one, ending in Jessie's defeat to Dawn. Following the Team Rocket trio's journey in Sinnoh, James was forced to leave Carnivine at Team Rocket's headquarters, as it is not a Pokémon native to the Unova region and would seem suspicious. Carnivine is the most affectionate Pokémon towards James, aside from Mareanie. His funny character always leaves as a laughter every time he appears. And because of his cute charm, it takes his spot for our top 2.
Carnivine, you'll help me! If somehow you learned this from me when I was young, I'm sorry! Let's see!
Survivor, let's go!
You too, Carnivine! Carnivine, I am not a piece of fruit! No matter what anybody says!
Poison tail!
Carnivine, you too! Carnivine! I'll need a hair transplant! Carnivine, front and center! Deja vu! Bullet seed on them! You too, Carnivine! Not if they have anything to say about it! Get me a witness and Carnivine bullet seed and I'm taking it now! Carnivine, places! Maybe it's the herbal shampoo I'm using!
Survivor, report!
Carnivine, I need you! It's Motham catching time! Go, Carnivine!
Come on, the least you can do is show your face! There!
Ow, my hair.
Oh, please trade with...
Top 1. Morpeko. Morpeko is the first Pokémon that James caught in Pokémon Journeys, and his 14th overall. Morpeko debuted in both of its modes in Sobbing Sobble, where it stole Team Rocket's food, and fled while they were in the Galar region. It later encountered Team Rocket again, and angrily sent them, blasting off with Aura Wheel, once they admitted they had no more food to give it. Morpeko is a greedy Pokémon, that has caused trouble for Team Rocket multiple times, with its raids on their food supply. If it is refused the food that it craves, it changes from its full belly mode to its hangry mode, becoming aggressive and more voracious. In its hangry mode, Morpeko is quite violent, both with Team Rocket as well as with Pokémon from other trainers. Immediately upon reverting to full belly mode, Morpeko is shown to be somewhat docile, especially after having a particularly satisfying meal. However, it still has a short temper, and will lash out at anything that bothers it. Morpeko is the only electric-type Pokémon owned by either Jesse or James. Morpeko is the first of James's Pokémon to use its ability. It took 42 episodes from Morpeko's debut to its capture, the longest of any of Team Rocket's Pokémon. Morpeko is the first recurring wild Pokémon, caught by James. Team Rocket attempted to get rid of Morpeko by having, go, catch it. During its absence, James missed Morpeko, having grown fond of it, and after being reunited with Morpeko and seeing it battle, James opted to catch it. Morpeko is James's first capture since he caught his Mareanie 204 episodes earlier. The latest episode of Pokémon Journeys. James catching this Morpeko was really leave us at awe, making Morpeko top 1 on our list.
Morpeko? Guess it's ready for a snack break again.
We're fresh out of food thanks to you and that big appetite.
Don't take it elsewhere!
Morpeko!
That's not a look I've ever seen.
Unless someone's raving mad.
And before we proceed to our most adorable Pokémon owned by Team Rocket James, please do subscribe to my channel for weekly content. This will be a huge help for me, to upload more videos. And for the cutest, and most adorable Pokémon James ever had, is Mime Jr. Mime Jr. was the third Pokémon caught by James, during Pokémon the series, Ruby and Sapphire of the Pokémon anime, and his 9th overall. James caught Mime Jr. by accident, in Sweet Baby James, after it purposefully initiated the capture mechanism on one of his empty Pokéballs that had fallen on the floor. Mime Jr. previously resided with the old couple who took care of an old vacation home of James's family. James went there when his Chimecho fell ill. Mime Jr. took an instant liking to James, keeping him company at night while he sat over Chimecho. James was thankful for this, and he told Mime Jr. that it was kind-hearted. When it was time for James to leave, Chimecho was still ill, so he decided to leave it in care of the old couple. When he reached in his pocket to get Chimecho's Pokeball, the empty ones fell out, and Mime Jr. rushed in. James asked why Mime Jr. would want to go with him, and the couple told him that Mime Jr. likes him and thinks he is a kind person. They also said, "Looks like you found yourself a good buddy in Mime Jr." Mime Jr., as a mime Pokémon, imitates what people do. Like Chimecho before it regularly inserts itself at the end of the Team Rocket motto saying, "Mime, mime," after Wobbuffet says his name. It is seen fairly commonly out of its Pokeball, similar to Chimecho, participating in Team Rocket's schemes. Also similarly to Chimecho, Mime Jr. is babied by James and he rarely lets it battle. Mime Jr. has a great relationship with its trainer and seems to quite like Jessie, Meowth, and Wobbuffet in Off the Unbeaten Path. James won a Pokémon orienteering contest with Mime Jr. in Spontaneous Combustion. Mime Jr. was used by Jessie, under the alias of Jezebel, in the Chrysanthemum Pokémon contest. They got through the round by performing a hula dance that was praised by the judges for showing of Mime Jr.'s cuteness. In coming full festival circle, Mime Jr. was used along with Carnivine in a 2-on-2 contest battle during the Sinnoh Grand Festival. Together they managed to defeat their opponents, allowing Jesselina to advance in the competition while making James very proud. Following the Team Rocket trio's journey in Sinnoh, James was forced to leave Mime Jr. at Team Rocket's headquarters as it is not a Pokémon native to the Unova region, and would seem suspicious. Mime Jr. was truly a kind, loving, and adorable Pokémon, which took the best spot for Team Rocket, James' Pokémon team on the anime series. Nobody can escape its cuteness. Using Teeter Dance, no one can resist it, making everyone dance with joy.
Confuse them with Teeter Dance!
Deja vu!
Gotta dance!
Thanks a lot.
Rock, you're bumping me a little too hard!
And the award for Best Drama Series goes to me! I wish to thank the Academy, my mother, my father,